Hey everybody, it's Boardman21 and today's build is going to be the Hammer Throw Nova, proc'n Smite. And basically we turn Smite into its lightning tree branch where it's going to do some shock and shock effect. It also zaps up to three strikes of lightning and one strike, and as you'll see, basically we went for as many hammer projectiles as possible. So we went with Nova, we also went with the reduced cost to make it free, we made the hammer's chain, and then we also went for as much attack speed as possible through the entire thing. And as you'll see when we're done with all this through some of the gameplay, it may not be the most survivable. I haven't pushed it super high, we have gotten to wave 100 plus. It's more of a kite build, but it's really spectacular looking. I love the visual effects of Lightning Smite, and with that I had to do a build with it. So here you go, let's get into it. For skills, we're going to be running Smite, Volatile Reversal, Hammer Throw, Holy Aura, and Ring of Shields. For Smite, this is going to be our main damage. We're going to be using it as a lightning proc plus attack speed. So we got 2 points in Blinding Flash, 1 point in Order of Lagoon, 1 point in Unbalanced Scale, 4 points in Charged Hand, and 3 points in Wandering Bolts for that +3 targets when you do proc the lightning bolt, which will be every time you proc Smite. We have 1 point in Holy Wave, 3 points in Righteous Fury just to unlock Righteous Flurry, and we have 5 points in there for 50% increased throwing attack speed when we proc this, which will be all of the time. For Volatile Reversal, we're also using this only for increased attack speed, and we only use it basically when we're one-on-one with a boss and we need some more attack speed, because your one-on-one target damage is going to be kind of lame. You're not going to proc Smite as much, and you're just not going to hit them since you're Novaing your hammer throw. You're not going to hit them as much, and since the hammer's chain, when you only have one target, you're not chaining. So with that, you need some more attack speed to really pick up the pace on killing them, and so we have Volatile Reversal in the mix just for that. So we got 3 points in Time Sap, 3 points in Catching Up, 3 points in Warped Time, 1 point in Time Lost Vitality, 1 point in Terminal Void Rift, 1 point in Incipient Void Rift, 2 points in Traveler's Fatigue, 3 points in Traveler's Frailty, 2 points in Ancient Reversal, and 1 point in Time Lost Wisdom. The reason we didn't go with any enemy damage over time or with enemy damage taken is because we wanted the cooldown to be the fastest that it could be. We wanted to reduce the cooldown as quickly as possible, and since you keep your buffs for as long as you go back in time, that's why we did the 2 points in Ancient Reversal. So you actually go back in time 4 seconds instead of 2, which means you keep your buffs for 4 seconds instead of 2, and these do stack. So since your cooldown will actually be under 4 seconds, the more times you can spam it, the more attack speed that you'll get. In this case, you'll have 36% on one cast. If you cast it again before the 4 seconds is up, you'll have 72. It is possible to get up to 108% attack speed if you kill a bunch of trash mobs, because you do reduce the cooldown 9% per kill. So if you wipe out a whole bunch of trash mobs, you can cast this 3 times very, very quickly. We also don't get mana back, we don't get HP back, we don't need either of those things. Our main casting skill and this are free to cast. Smite, because it's being procced, is free. The only things that even cost mana is Ring of Shields and Holy Aura, which they don't cost enough to wipe out all of your mana, so you can keep them on auto cast. Then we have Hammer Throw. So we went with as many projectiles as possible with attack speed, and we made them chain. So we have 1 point in Winged Hammers, 1 point in Steadfast Path, 2 points in Catapult for +4 projectiles. This also increases your mana cost by 6. We needed 3 points in Ballista to reduce the mana cost by 3. You'll notice we have a 0 cost Hammer Throw. And 1 point in Avatar of the Spike to double the number of projectiles, increase the physical damage by 4, and your hammers are now thrown in a Nova. What's nice about this is you can just be in the center of the map. You can hit, you don't have to aim hammers anymore. It just hits everything around you, and if it misses but hits something else, it'll chain to that enemy thanks to our chaining ability. So we have 3 points in Forge of Impact for some stun chance, 1 point in Collision, you no longer pierce, 1 point in Ricochet, you now can chain up to 1 time, and 2 points in Chaining Hammers so that you now chain 2 more times. So you get 3 chains per hammer, and you're throwing out, what do you got, 4 plus your original 3, 7 doubled 14, so you got 14 projectiles at a time, or somewhere around in there. I don't think that many actually throw. You can just test it really quick. I don't know. It looks like 8. That's a lot. I'd have to pause it to actually count it. But point is you now chain, so you get your 8 to 14 projectiles or however many it is, and they can chain up to 3 enemies. So you can get 24 hits on a single cast. You also have 5 points in rapid throw for that attack speed, because you do lose some attack speed taking the chaining. Then we have Holy Aura. We're using this again for attack speed. It's also kind of defensive and a little bit of ignite chance, but we have 2 points in Call to Arms, 4 points in Strength from Afar, 4 points in Expedite, 1 point in Reha's Devotion, 2 points in Shelter from the Storm, 4 points in Mighty Shield. So every time we block, we get 8 health, and 3 points in Against the Odds, so whenever you block, you also get 21 ward. For Ring of Shields, we have 2 points in Reinforcement, 2 points in Healing Shields, 5 points in Phalanx, 3 points in Banding, 3 points in Enduring Defense, 1 point in Molten Shields, and we went with 4 points in Touched by Fire for plus 12 fire damage, which will actually probably change because now our Smite is Lightning, and it does help our hammer throw because it works with attacks as well as spells, but I would also like to actually get the block chance just so that we have a much higher block chance for a lot of the time, because that's kind of our defense's block. That's where we get our ward and health on block. Those are the skills. For items, you want 4 idols that can increase your chance to cast Smite. So here I've got a +8. I believe the max you can roll is 10%. So 4 of them that get anywhere from the 4 to 10%. 4 of them for the maximum proc percentage. Also, if you can get the physical damage over time as the other stat, that's amazing. We do have this one here that did get the 65% increased physical damage over time. The reason that's amazing is because this is also a bleed build. We get a 200% bleed chance on hit with throwing attacks, and our hammers, as they chain around and hit, you're doing a lot of bleed. So that physical damage over time increases your bleed damage. I believe our bleed damage is actually quite good, 335. So it's pretty decent bleed damage. For our weapon, we're using increased lightning damage, increased elemental damage. For the other 2, for your suffixes, you can do whatever you want. We have some necrotic protection. We also have some chance to blind on hit. I would have really liked health on hit, but unfortunately that's only on melee hits, so it doesn't work for us. We did go with the Sorcerer's Staff because the increased spell mana cost is not so intrusive on this build, and that gave us the extra adaptive spell damage. And then for items, we just basically went with throwing attack speed everywhere you could get it. So both rings have throwing attack speed, and then you just kind of go for defense. You don't really, you will need the -3 throwing attack mana cost on both, so you have to get at least a tier 1 on both rings for that. After that, throwing attack speed is the most important, and then just protections if you can get it. Gloves also can have throwing attack speed, so we have that. And then we just basically went with critical strike avoidance and glancing blow on everything else that we could get it. On our belt, we went with increased armor and protections as well as armor. Our chest piece, we have both vitality and strength. And with the amulet, we went with throwing attack damage. You don't really need that. We also went with some spell damage. You don't need the throwing attack damage. Just make sure you get a high roll on the Jade Amulet for throwing attack speed. Our hits with it don't really do a whole lot of damage, so that's not super important. Alright, for passives, in the Sentinel base class, we have 8 points in Fearless, 5 points in Gladiator, 5 points in Retaliation, and 2 points in Iron Mastery. In Void Knight, we have 7 points in Devouring Blade, 8 points in Rolled Eater, 8 points in Void Bolts, and 2 points in Future Strikes. This 2 points, honestly, you could probably put it just to increase your damage on a recent kill. It'd probably do more for you, but we were doing so many hits, I just wanted to get some Future Strikes in there. They seem to help. For Forge Guard, we have 8 points in Steel Aegis, 10 points in Pedest, and that's it for there. For Paladin, 51 points. We have 2 points in Defiance, 5 points in Honor, 1 point in Holy Symbol, 8 points in Valor, 10 points in Flash of Brilliance, 3 points in Prayer, 1 point in Staunch Defender, 4 points in Shield Wall, and the big one, 10 points in Penance for that 200% throwing bleed chance, and then also 7 points in Redemption for increased bleed effectiveness, and for a chance to be granted 49% additional damage, which is pretty cool. So you have a 49% chance when you poison yourself to be granted 49% damage. which lasts for 4 seconds. And that's it for points. I'm going to go ahead and give you some gameplay of the build. Basically, you just want to stay out of the fight. You're just going to be noving around. Like I said, we're going to put both Ring of Shields and Holy Aura on autocast. If you do get in trouble or if you're on an area where you're stuck, you can always reversal. It'll give you some attack speed. Also gives you some movement speed so you can move real quick, which is really nice. And with that, let's get into the gameplay.